Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. We're doing something different today. This will be another music video in which I will be doing a music ranking. This is probably my third one. I previously ranked all four solo albums from all four Blackpink members, and I also ranked every album, all five albums from The Warning. Today I am going to be ranking all 10 albums from my favorite artist, Demi Lovato, who I just saw in concert for the second time last month. I believe it's been a month already. So yeah, this past Saturday at work, I listened to all nine, 10 if you include the revamped album. I listened to all 10 of them this past Saturday at work from beginning to end in chronological order to see just which to me is her best album. First, a few things first. As always, this is just my opinion, what I prefer. Um, my top choice might be someone else's worst. My worst choice might be someone else's best. Again, this is just my opinions. I'm not a musical note connoisseur, so I don't know all that musical jargon and everything. I'm just gonna do my best to, describe, this music stuff. Did my thing just okay? Did I thought it froze? So yeah. Secondly, when I did my ranking for the Warning albums, it was brought to my attention. Why did I include their EP? As I said in the video, of course, my rankings, my rules. If I want to include it, I'll include it. If I don't, um, and why I didn't include another of their EP albums because that certain EP, which I did not include, all their songs ended up on one of their studio albums, so which is why I didn't. Clearly made that state, but like I said, I don't mind the feedback, positive, negative. I welcome it. I'm open to discussions. I don't mind it at all. I like having those type of discussions with the comments I've gotten back. So yeah, as I said, with that being said, I am only going to rank Demi's nine studio albums, from her very first one. Um, don't forget to her most recent one. It's not that deep. I was going to include Revamped on here. I did listen to it. I was going to include it in the rankings, but then I thought about it and I'm like, if you know, Revamped is pretty much a remix album that she did, which contains a lot of rock versions of some of her previous songs that she's done. She did it in a more rock style. Um, so in a way, it's kind of more like a rock style greatest hits album. So I will not include it in the ranking, but once I do give you my rankings of her albums, I'm going to rank the songs on that album. Well, you'll see when we get there. I'll do it at the end of the video because I don't want to spoil anything about some of the songs that are on that particular album. So we're going to go ahead and for now just rank her nine studio albums that she did. A little backstory. One thing that I find very, very funny is that um, growing up, just in case you didn't know, we're like 5 years apart, so it's not that big of a difference. But yeah, I'm 5 years older than Demi. But yeah, so growing up, funny thing is that I was never really even a fan of Demi Lovato growing up when she was younger, when I was younger. During the Disney Channel days, I was always more of a fan. Selena Gomez, Vanessa Hudgens, Hilary Duff, those are some of my favorites. And I don't know, I just didn't really care too much for Demi when she was younger. It wasn't until like once she got a lot older and I got little few more older, like maybe around 2017, 2016ish, when I started listening to, I heard some of her music and I didn't really get into her music like around 2017ish. And that's around the time when I like really became a fan of hers. I started listening to more of her music, and since then I've seen her in concert twice, and I can probably say that yes, she is officially my favorite female singer. The irony of someone who I did not used to like is now someone I consider my favorite musical artist. Funny how things work out sometimes. So yeah. So with that being said, let's get on with the rankings of Demi Lovato's albums. So coming in at number 9, unfortunately, I'm not calling it the worst because I don't like to really use that term, the worst, because I don't know, especially if it's an artist that I like, I really not going to use the term worst. I'll probably go along the lines of least favorite. So like I said, I really don't want to say worst because it's Demi Lovato. She does have some songs that don't really, click for me, but yeah, I'd rather just go with least favorite. So coming in at number 9 is her third album, Unbroken. Um, this was pretty much the way I see it. Like it was a transitioning phase from her because her first two albums, if you've heard them, they were more. They had that punk rock style to them, and this album she was like leaning going pretty much like going from punk rock to like I don't know more popish, more R&B, whatever you want to call it. Um, and that's pretty much what you get on this album. It's to me the way I felt listening to it. I felt like she was trying to see like what exact genre she wanted to be at this point because from what I got, I felt like there was probably like three different genres in this album. And I don't know, it just didn't really do it too much for me. And I'll be honest, all these albums that she has, I've never really listened to them all completely. I've heard like probably 85% of all her songs, pretty much. I have like over like close to 100 of her songs in my music library. And listening to these albums, I actually got a whole list of songs that I had never heard before that I actually am going to add to my music library of hers. So yes, that was a fun little trip. But yeah, Unbroken just didn't really do it for me. Like I said, as I was listening to it, I kept checking to see like how many more tracks were left. Um, what does pain me to put this at last is that this album contains "Give Your Heart a Break," which is actually one of my top 5 Demi songs. So it's like this is legit probably like maybe like number 4 or something, my favorite Demi song. And that's what really pains me the most to put this in last place because this album contains that song. It also has Skyscraper, which is a really good one, Fix a Heart. Um, there was I don't even know if I um how many songs from this album that I added to my to download list. But I don't know, just Unbroken didn't really do it for me. Like I said, I felt like this was more of a transitioning period for her, going from one genre to a completely different one. Um, and she had like quite a lot of feature artists on this one, like Missy Elliott. I didn't even know she was still making music, but then again, that was like 2011. Um, so yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, something has to go last. And like I said, even though this album contains one of my top 5 Demi songs, unfortunately, I had to put that album last. So yeah, sorry about that. Actually, I double checked. It was this one. Never mind. So forget I said that part. Remember that when I get to the album she did. Just we haven't got there yet. But yeah, again, not a bad album at all whatsoever. It's pretty much very similar, but not as good as her debut album. Don't forget. Again, it's not a bad album. It's it's one of those I did not press pause. I thought I did, so I have no idea what the hell I just said. Um, yeah, I gotta get better at this editing stuff. Um, if I'm repeating myself, sorry. If I'm not, yeah, I thought I had paused the video. Um, yeah, I double checked. She did not pick Here We Go Again for the secret song when I was there. We'll get to that album that she did pick when we get there because I did not mention it yet. Yeah, I think his man just overtired or something. So it was a long day at work, so I'm probably just forgetting. I thought I pressed the pause button, but I didn't. So excuse me. So, but yeah, coming in at number 7 is Here We Go Again. And if I mentioned it while the video was not paused like I thought it was, my favorite song on this album is Remember December. Because, like I said, I like the little guitar, electric, coming in at number 6 is Demi, which was her fourth album. Um, this is another actually really good one. This is around the area where okay, I started getting more into these. Like okay, like these are more the albums that I really know a lot more before I like actually went back and listened to them. This song kicks off. The very first song on this album is another of my top 5 songs from Demi. Heart Attack, of course. I want to say that's probably my third favorite song from her. I just love that song. I love her vocals on that song. And when she sang that song live, the bitch was going in on that song. I was hitting them notes. At least in my head, I was. In my head, I was probably hitting the same notes that she was out loud. I was more, singing in my head. But in my head, I was hitting those notes just as good as she was because I love that song. And like I said, it's like my third favorite song from her. And that's the very first song on this album. Um, Neon Lights is another good song that she has on there. Um, really Don't Care with Cher Lloyd. Um, thank you. Thank you. Home, good old fashioned homemade tea. It force me with you. So yeah. Um, Demi's a good album. We're getting to that point where I was like, okay, I'm starting to like these albums fully a lot more. And I think this one I have a lot of songs that I didn't hear before that I did, like I said, added to uh, my list of songs that I do want to add to my Demi collection because, like I said, there's a lot of these songs I had never heard before. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty good song, and this one I'm saying have like 3 or 4 songs from this album that I did add to that list of what I'm going to download and add to my library. So yeah, so this is another one that's like right in the middle, like right in the middle of her albums. Because now after this, we only have 5 albums left, which top 5. So this just barely makes it in there. Like I said, we're at that point now. We're like, okay, this is like the really, really good stuff. So, and if I had to pick my favorite song on this album, as I just said, it is definitely Heart Attack because, like I said, I love that song. I love her vocals on that track. Whenever when I'm doing my paperwork in the morning at work, when I listen to my Demi mix on YouTube, that's usually always the first song that plays. So I'm just like, okay, it's a good way to get the day started. So yeah, and yes, she did sing that song live. I've heard that song live twice already, and it just gets better every time I hear it. So yeah, so now we enter the top 5. It's coming in at number 5 to kick off the top 5 is her fifth album, Confident. And I gotta tell you something about this album. It's definitely great. I want to say this top 5 was, well, at least 2 through 4, 2 through 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5 were like the hardest to rearrange because I had a feeling what would be number 1, and so, lo and behold, did get picked at number one, but we'll get there when we get there. So these five, four, three, and two were like probably like the most hardest for me to like rearrange to what I prefer. And I gotta say one thing when it comes to this album contains my top two favorite songs from Demi, and that is these two songs. It is legit very, very hard for me to pick one of these two songs as to what is my favorite Demi song because I love both of these songs equally, and I could hear one song over and over, and that becomes my favorite, or I'll hear the other one after go on, and then that one becomes my favorite. And in case you're wondering, those two songs are Confident and Cool for the Summer. Those are my top two Demi songs of all time. Um, Cool for the Summer is actually the very first song that I actually liked from Demi. Because like I said, I never really used to listen to her before this, before like I said when she first started out and everything. And Cool for the Summer, I started liking because they actually used it as a theme song for WWE SummerSlam 2015. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good song. I mean, I don't have no idea why the hell they use it for a wrestling show, but I mean, it was a really good song, and I really really liked it. And of course, if you really listen to the lyrics, it's not. You might think it's about having a good time in the summer, like I did. I thought it's about having a nice good time in the summertime. If you listen to the lyrics, it's really not that about that at all. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You have to listen to it for yourself. But yeah, and then Confident is. I just freaking love that song. Again, they also used it for a wrestling video in WWE, but I felt like that one was more wrestling appropriate for what they used it for. They used it in a video package to promote a match featuring my favorite female superstar, Sasha Banks, um, for WrestleMania of 2016. So, and like I said, I go back and forth between Confident and Cool for the Summer, between which song is exactly my favorite Demi song. It's literally back and forth between those two. Like I said, I could listen to Confident one day and say, this is my favorite Demi song. Or I can go, I'll listen to Cool for the Summer and I say, this is my favorite Demi song. It legit goes back. And I gotta say, that's probably one of the hardest choices I have to pick. Usually when I have an artist, what's your favorite song? And I can give you a clear answer. But when it comes to Demi Lovato, what's your favorite song? I'm legit torn between these two because I love these two songs so freaking much. I just do. Like I said, her vocals are amazing. The videos are cool. And they're just two amazing songs. I really, really love them. I seen both songs live. The both times I seen her. The first time I saw her live, she played Confidence. She walked through the crowd and everything. I was like nowhere near where she was walking at because I was up in the balcony, like higher up. And then she also sang Cool for the Summer as well. And this past time I saw her last month, she sang Confident like towards the beginning of the show. And then I started getting a little upset, disappointed because she didn't sing Cool for the Summer. But then when she came out for the encore, that's when she played Cool for the Summer. And I was like, hey, all is right in the world. Um, so, so yeah, it's like really, really hard when it comes to those two. Of course, those ain't the only good songs on that album. She also has Stone Cold, which is another amazing song where her vocals are just simply amazing. Um, what else is on there? I gotta look at the because I'm not too Father, which is also a very good emotional song. Um, judging off of my list of songs that I need to download, there's actually quite a few from this album that I added to my list. Oh, but yeah, so yeah, what gets this song so high up is like I said, it features my top two favorite songs of Demi, and like I said, I love those two songs so very much. Like I said, I've been telling you what my favorite song is on each album. This is probably the only one I'm having a hard time choosing, and it's obviously between one of those two. I can't really even give you a cool, clear, cold answer for that one. So yeah. Coming in at number four is her debut album, Don't Forget. Um, Listening to the Demi of that first album compared to the Demi of the album she just released, um, is like it's a huge difference. Her first album, as you know, was more punk rockish, like punk pop, whatever you want to call it. Um, this is like around the time when pretty much Disney Channel tried to make everybody a musician or singing artist. They literally tried it with practically everybody. Some did good, some didn't, as you obviously know. But some did better than others, but you can't really judge them on that. I think it's a very, very good debut album for being her first album, and it still holds up after all these years. Came out in 2000, what 2008, so it's almost 20 years old already, and it still holds up. With her vocals and everything. Yeah, it's just really good. It starts off with La La Land, which is one of her, good songs. I feel you, Demi. Don't worry, I still eat at McDonald's too, just like you do in the song. It has Get Back. Now, as I was saying earlier, I got the albums mixed up. When I saw her live and she picked her secret song, the person in the audience chose, I think, number one. It was so obviously number one is her first album, Don't Forget. And once she picked that album, the first thing in my head was please sing my favorite song from this album, which is Don't Forget. She sang Get Back. I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. It's a good song. But I was really hoping to hear Don't Forget because that's probably my favorite Young Demi song. Young Demi, Little Demi, whatever you want to call that era. That's my favorite song from that era is Don't Forget. My favorite song on this album, of course. But yeah. Um, what else is on here? Um, Actually, I want to say, looking at my list, I got one, two, three, four. Oh, cool. Like four or five songs from this album that I had never heard before that I did like that I did add to my to-do list, I guess you want to call it. Hey, it's very good. It's a very good debut album. Like I said, especially if you're into that teenage punk rock pop. Um, like I said, it holds up after all these years. And I'm surprised I haven't ranked this high because I thought it would probably be like somewhere in the middle, especially considering it was like her debut album and she has so many other albums come out since. But no, it actually comes in at what are we on? Number four. No, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, number four. Okay, so but yeah, great debut album from Demi. Um, like I said, her little punk rock era will be coming back because coming in at number three is her what album number was that? Coming in at number three is her eighth album, Holy Fuck. It's spelled FVCK, so it's holy. Is it holy Favuk? Favuk? I don't know, but it's holy fuck. You get the picture. This was basically after she got done with all her, becoming sober and everything. She kind of went back to her punk rock roots. Um, and yeah, we got um, whole new rock album from Demi in the year 2022, right in the smack bang in the middle. Well, not in the middle, but the end of the COVID days, and yeah, we all remember those, don't we? Um, so yeah, this is if you like, don't forget. This is basically don't forget on steroids, pretty much, or with the volume turned up because this song just goes hard and it doesn't really like let down at all. And when I first got to the album to listen to, I thought, okay, maybe I didn't think I would have it ranked this high because I think a lot of the songs, not saying they do, some of them almost sound similar to the point where okay, I gotta check to see what the next song is playing. But no. like I said before, when I did the Warning albums, and when I what else did I bring? Oh, the Blackpink one. The When you listen to the album from start to finish, it just like it hits differently. Like it feels different when you listen to it from the start to the finish. Um, but that's what I did with this one. Like, it's just there's not like a bad song on this album. There's like no point where it like just like calms down and drags for a little bit. Um, it's just really banging and banging and banging. One only negative, the opening track is Freak. It's a good song. It's a good song. Me personally, like I said, I like to structure things different. I personally would not have opened with that song. I probably would have opened up with either Skin of My Teeth or which one did I say? The actual song, Holy Fuck. I think those two would have been a lot better as an opener because, like I said, I like to open things up with a bang. Like I said, when I used to do my mix CDs, and I used to download them, I used to make sure I had the perfect opening track to set the mood, to get you pumped up and everything. Like I said, it does a good job with the first track, but I personally would not have used that for the first one. I would use something else. And like I said so many times, I'll say it again. This is just my opinion. Um, you might be perfectly fine with what was the first song on the track. Like I said, everyone's opinions are different. This is just me. Like I said, I'm nobody important, nobody special. I'm just a guy doing videos. So this, like I said, this is my opinion. If you don't agree with it, I'm not gonna argue with it over. I mean, I'll discuss with you. That's fine. But like I said, if your opinion is different than mine, I'm not gonna argue with you. You're entitled to your own opinion, just like I am mine. So like I said, this is just me. This is just my preferences. Like I said, my favorite could be your least favorite. My least favorite could be your favorite. Like I said, it's what makes it. That's what these discussions make it fun because you get to hear different opinions, different thoughts, and I like that. I like engaging in those type of conversations. So but yeah, there's a lot of very very good songs on here. Um, you have Eat Me, Substance, Happy Ending, City of Angels. There's so many good songs on this one. Another one of my favorites is Help Me, which features the band Dead Sarah. If you don't know who Dead Sarah is, check them out. They're pretty good. I am a fan of the lead singer Emily Armstrong, who you might know, who is now the singer for Linkin Park. I'm sure you may know who that is. You're probably thinking, who the hell is Dead Sarah? If you know who Emily Armstrong is as the singer of Linkin Park, definitely if you do like her with Linkin Park, definitely check out some of her music she did with Dead Sarah. My favorite song from them is Heaven's Got a my mind just completely went blank. Heaven's Got a Back Door, I think it's called. Yeah, my mind just like went blank because it's like one of my favorite songs from them, and I like to listen to it on repeat. Heaven's Got a Back Door. There you go. So yeah, another good song on here is 29. If you've heard the song and you know what it's about, then yeah, kudos to you. If you don't know what that song is about, all I can say is, God damn it, Fez. If you get that, you know what the hell I'm talking about. If you don't, um, yeah, I would say Google it. Should I share with you? So yeah, as you know, Demi had a relationship with Wilmer Valderrama, who most people know plays Fez in that 70s. So when she was younger, they had like an on and off again kind of thing. This song 29 is a directed towards him. That's all I'm gonna get into. Check it out and listen to it and figure it out for yourself. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, all I can say is, God damn it, Fez. And coming in at number two is her most recent album. Oh, excuse me. My favorite song from Holy fuck. What would I say is my favorite song from that album? If I had to choose, I would probably actually say Skin of My Teeth. Because when I did my top 30 Demi songs a couple years back on Snapchat and my Instagram, Substance was like, I want to say like at number six or number seven, somewhere in there, because I really liked that song. Um, when I first did my top Demi countdown, A couple years before that, Substance, not Substance, Skin of My Teeth just barely made the countdown because that song had just came out at the time I did my top 30 songs. And then I did redid it again 2 years later when Holy Fuck came out. And Skin of My Teeth was still like in the top, like I want to say like definitely in the top 10. I want to say it was like around like 6 or 7. It was like pretty high up. So that's my favorite song off of that album. Coming in at number two is her most recent album. It's Not That Deep. You might say, okay, it's probably recency bias, maybe, but it's a really good album. It really is. It's good to just have Demi back. Um, it's also very short. It's like probably like half an hour long, but it's a really good album. It really really is. And I think this is probably the only album where I have legit like the whole album completely downloaded in my music library. Um, and I'm really really surprised that I have it ranked at number two. That surprised me. It really did. And to hear so many of these songs live at the last concert I just went to, it's just like it hits different. And like I said, to hear from beginning to end, it hits a completely different way. And this album is just really amazing. And kudos to Demi for coming back and putting out a good album with like banger after banger after banger on this one. I like that whole electric, is that what they want to call it? The electric pop or whatever it is. I just like that type of stuff. Like it had like that 80s music kind of vibe. I really don't know how to describe that. If you heard this album and you heard if you've heard this album and you've heard 80s music, you probably know what the hell I'm talking about. If not, I apologize because, like I said, I am not a musical technician, so I do not know that much technical musical terms. But yeah, there's just so many good songs on this album. Like it's just really, really good, and she's so freaking amazing. This album is good. It kicks off with Fast, which is a pretty good song to kick off with. Here All Night, Frequency. There's so many of them are good. If I had to choose my favorite song on here, I would probably go with hmm, Let You Go. Let You Go. I would say Let You Go is my favorite song on the album. And yes, this, like I said, it may be recency bias since the album just came out like a couple months ago. Um, it's just really, really good. It really is. And I'm surprised that I have it ranked at number two. I thought for sure it'll probably be like in the middle, but no, here we are at number two. And it's just such a really good album. There's like no bad songs in there. Like there's no like slow points in the album where it like kind of like mellows down for a bit. No, it just keeps on going and going and going and going, which is really good. So, which leads us to number one. And if you've been keeping track, you probably know what album it is. Um, if you haven't, excuse me 1 second while I just check something right quick. It is her sixth album, coming in at number one. My favorite Demi album is her sixth one, Tell Me You Love Me. That is my favorite Demi album. Um, this is right around the time, like 2017 is when this came out. This is pretty much the album that made me a Demi fan. Because it was around this time when this period when this album came out is when I like really started to listening to her and listening to more of her music. And it, I know a lot of people say that certain music can get you in your feels. This album does that because, like I said, the period of time when this album came out, I can honestly say was probably one of the happiest points in my life, like personally. 2017 was a great year. Like I said, this time period from this when the album came out, I I feel like I was in a really good place in my life when this album came out. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I was just in a very very happy point in my life when this album came out. And when I hear like the Demi when I'm listening to my Demi playlist and I hear songs from this album, Like I don't know if I'm explaining it right. I'm sure probably people feel the same way. Like when they hear a certain song, it like just gives you those feels, and it feels like it takes you back to a certain point in your life, and just like hearing songs from this album does that. Like I said, I was in a very good spot. I really was, and this album, like I said, is one of the reasons why. Like it got me hooked. It This album made me a Demi fan. This album was the kickstart to what would go on to become a being a Demi fan, and it was because of this album that this amazing artist, is now my favorite musical artist. I love Demi. I love Demi Lovato. If she ever came back again to see her in concert, hell yeah, I would go. Um, yeah, like I said, I was the era of this era for this album. It was really good. Like I said, I was in a good place. Uh, Around this whole time frame. Like I was happy, and it's not often that I say it a lot but this was one of those point in times where I was like legit. I was happy where I was at. Like I said, I was working two good jobs. I was working the job that I'm still at now. I had a side job at Walmart. Um, or my side job where I pretty much got promoted to a managerial position, and it was in that job where I met like a lot of new friends. A couple of them were going to become like my best friends, pretty much. And um, it was around this time period where I went to Disney World for the first time, a place where I literally never thought I would ever go. And now I've been there 7 times since. Um, you know, it was around this time period where I got to live out one of my childhood dreams and go to WrestleMania, in a whole different state, the biggest event of all professional wrestling during this time period. And when I hear songs off of this album, like it takes me back to that time where like everything was good, everything was just felt right. And of course, a few months after that, my life pretty much went to shit. If you know me personally, you know why. If you don't know me personally, don't worry. We will talk about that in a future episode, but that won't be until August. I'm not. If you know me personally, you know why. If not, well, you'll have to wait until August to find out. Um, but yeah, that album just. There's not many albums that I can say that I enjoy thoroughly from beginning to end. But this is definitely one of them. And if it wasn't for this album, like I said, I probably would not be a Demi Lovato fan. But yet here we are. There's so many amazing songs on here. Sorry Not Sorry, which is a great one. Tell Me You Love Me. Daddy Issues. Um, Games. Hitchhiker. There's so many amazing songs on here. Yeah. Um, yeah, I just love this album, and I had a feeling it would be number one. I listened to it while I was doing this binge, and sure enough, here it is at number one. My favorite Demi album is Tell Me You Love Me. If I had to pick a favorite song from this album, I'll probably go with Sorry Not Sorry for my favorite song on that album. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, that's yeah. So yeah, there you go. There we are with my ranking of all nine of Demi Lovato's albums. Quick recap: at number nine was Unbroken. Number eight was Dancing with the Devil, The Art of Starting Over. And number seven was Here We Go Again. And number six was Demi. Number five was Confident. Number four, Don't Forget. Number three, Holy Fuck. Number two, It's Not That Deep. And number one, Tell Me You Love Me. Um, that's my ranking for all nine of Demi's albums. It was really fun listening to doing this exercise. I think that's gonna be my new Saturday tradition while I'm at work because when I work Saturdays, I usually have the whole place to myself, so I can like pretty much listen to whatever I want. During the week, I have to listen. I have a special work playlist that I play during the week because sometimes I got like a little mixture of everything, like rock, oldies, just a little mixture of everything. I try not to make it too hard or too explicit because some of the big bosses might not like it. They'll find it too sensitive. So I have to listen to a special work playlist during the week. But on Saturdays, when I got the whole place to myself, I can pretty much listen to what I want to. And the last couple of weeks, I pretty much used that to do my little music binges. Um, so yeah, it's it's a fun exercise, fun thing to do. Do I have a couple more that I'm gonna do? Yes. I'm not gonna tell you exactly who. You have to wait to find out. But yeah, it was fun listening to all these Demi albums. It legit took me the whole day to listen to all nine or all 10. So yeah, that right there is my ranking for all her albums. So and also, as I said at the beginning of the video, I was going to include the album Revamped in the rankings, but I did it because, like I said, it's basically just like a greatest hits, pretty much. Rock versions of some of her previous release songs. So what I'm going to do as a bonus, I'm going to rank those songs. There's only 10. Don't get you excited. There's only 10 songs on that album. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rank those songs from favorite, least favorite to favorite. So like I said, I don't like to use the term worst. Um, so yeah, so let's get to it with her album Revamped. Like I said, it's a remix album where she pretty much re-released a couple of her songs, but as a rock version, pretty much. If you get what I mean. So like I said, there's 10 albums on the song. So coming in at number 10, I would put La La Land. Of course, it's one of my favorite younger Demi songs. Um, But it's one of those songs that I really feel like it didn't really need to be on this album because there's to me there's really it doesn't really sound that much of a difference compared to the original. Like it still like feels the same just with a little bit more if you get what I mean. Like it's yeah, it's really did feel like it could if anything they could have did some songs that weren't from the rock era on there. But yeah, because yeah, I just feel like there really wasn't that much of a difference from the original to the revamped version, so it comes in at last place. At number 9 is another early punk rock song that she did, and it pains me to put it so low because it's my favorite song from the album it came off of, and it's my favorite song from that era of Demi. It is Don't Forget. Excuse me, my allergies are coming up again. This weather has been back and forth, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Not helping my allergies. So yeah. Damn you, allergies. Damn you. Anyway, so yeah. At number 9 is Don't Forget. Like I said, I love the original. It's my favorite song off of the album, and it's my favorite song from that era of Demi. But again, I don't really feel it really should have been on this album because, like I said, it doesn't have too much of a huge difference. It just has a bit more pizzazz to it because it's more like rocked up a little. The reason I'm ranking it above number La La Land is because it's my favorite Young Demi song. So yeah, coming at number 8 is Skyscraper. Again, the original is a really good song. Um, but this is one of those songs that probably could have done better. The original version is probably better. Skyscraper, it does have that little bit more of a drum beat to it on this one. Um, but it probably falls into that category of it didn't really need a rock version cover of it. So like I said, it's not bad, but it's probably could have sat this one out. At number 7 is Tell Me You Love Me. Oh, excuse me. Um, Again, another one like it does sound a little bit better. Um, it's just I don't know how to say. Um, it's good, but at the same time, like, we probably didn't really need to have that, you know. But then again, I see what she was going with, and like I said, it's not bad. It's really not bad. At number six is "Give Your Heart a Break," which also features the guy from the Muse. I forgot what the fuck his name is. I think it's like Bert something, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but it features the lead singer from the Used, and it is a pretty little nice little remix, rock remix of it. Again, that's one of my top five favorite Demi songs, but it just like falls like right in the middle. Coming in at number five is Neon Lights, which is not really one of my top favorite Demi songs. It's like more like in the middle or lower, spot. But the rock version is a lot better. This is one of the songs that okay, it benefits better from having a rock remix. And I do like the rock version better than the original. At number four is Sorry Not Sorry, um, which actually surprised me because it's more of a popish song, and to hear a rock version of it, okay, I fuck with this. It's really good. At number three is Heart Attack, of course, as you know, is my maybe number three favorite Demi song. And on this version, it feels a lot more heavier. It feels a lot more grandiose. If you thought her vocals were good on the original, you should hear her vocals on this one. And yes, I have both versions on my work playlist. Actually, for these top three, and I think Give It Hard a Break, I have both the original and the rock versions on my work playlist. But yeah, coming in at number two, again, at one and two, again, it was hard to do because here we are, both of my two favorite Demi songs, "Confident" and "Cool for the Summer." Like I said, it's hard to choose between them two. It really is. But for this album, if I had to pick at number two, I'm gonna go with "Cool for the Summer." It sounds so freaking badass as a rock version. I love it. And then number one, "Confident," of course. I love that song, but to hear it as a rock version, I was like, woo, it hits even better. I love it even more. So yeah, so that's the my ranking for her revamped album. Um, Again, quick recap: number 10, La La Land; number 9, Don't Forget; number 8, Skyscraper; 7, Tell Me You Love Me; 6, Give Your Heart a Break; number 5, Neon Lights; number 4, Sorry Not Sorry; 3, Heart Attack; 2, Cool for the Summer; and number 1, Confident. My ranking for her revamped album, because it's not technically a studio album like somebody was saying on my warning video, but like I said, my rankings, my rules. So yeah, but yeah, again, my opinion and everything. Yeah, so there you go. It was fun doing this. Ranking the albums off of my favorite artists. It was, like I said, it's great to hear the evolution of her voice from her very first album to her most recent. Um, it was a fun little exercise, and like I said, I think those might become my Saturday traditions at work. I do have the next artist I do plan on doing this for. I probably won't do it this Saturday because this Saturday I'm working on a different project at work, so I won't be in my personal workspace, for the whole day. So I won't be able to listen to this artist complete thing in one day. So I'll probably have to wait till next Saturday to do it. I won't say who. I'll give you a hint. It's another one of my favorite artists. While Demi may be my favorite female singer, there is one other artist that I consider my favorite singer of all time. I've been a fan of hers since the beginning, and while I will admit I kind of fallen off her a little bit because I haven't really listened to any of her new music, but that is gonna change when I do her music bins. If you want a hint, I'll give you small hints of what can I do to give you a hint? Because I was gonna say look at the cat, but you wait. Hmm. I have seen this artist twice. If you watched my video where I ranked all the concerts I went to, you'll know who I'm talking about. If not, well, you're gonna have to wait until. sometime within the next couple of weeks. Because, like I said, I won't be able to do the music bins this weekend. I'll probably do it next week. So, yeah, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait to find out. But if we want a hint, I actually threw one in this video talking about the weather from hot to cold. Hot, cold. Get what I'm going for? So, yeah. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed my ranking of Demi Lovato's albums. Again, I apologize. Like I said, I'm not a music connoisseur. I'm not too, you know, up on all the technical terms for all these musical jargon words and all that. What I just try to do the best I can and describe the music the best I can. So yeah, like I said, my these are my opinions. Open to hear yours. I'd love to discuss what you guys think for the Lovatics out there. Um, what's your favorite Demi album? What's your least favorite? What's your favorite Demi song? When did you become a Demi fan? Or, I would love to hear it in the comments. So yeah, feel free to drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, good, bad. I love to hear them all. Um, yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, subscribe. Feel free to follow me on the socials. They're all linked on my page. Instagram, Snap, whatever, Yes. So I hope you enjoyed it. And again, thank you. And remember that if you haven't asked me about it, chances are I'm going to talk about it anyway.